The hospital is loud and cold. My bond is quiet in my chest, as though the surge of it coming out to protect me has sated the constant thirst for blood it seems to have now. But I already know it won't last long. The craving, the wanting, the overwhelming need to consume. It never goes away for long. Oleander? Oleander Fallows? God, you look like a pretty little thing sitting up there in that big bed. All of that long blonde hair. Your bonds are going to be so happy to know that you made it out of that car wreck unharmed. I can't look up at the nurse who is speaking to me, her tone warm and kind, and instead, my eyes focus on the long tendrils of my hair that are over my face. Blonde. It's not, though. It's silver now. But yesterday it was black. Whatever happened in that car, it had bleached the color from my hair. I struggle not to let the tears brimming in my eyes fall. The nurse clicks her tongue, perching on the bed beside me and gently patting the back of my hand. It's okay. I spoke to the head nurse, and she said your bonds are on their way here. It's all very secret and hush-hush around here, so they must be important. I know that at least one of them is old enough to sign for your care. He's the one who got you moved into this big private room. So he must be from one of the upper society families. Don't be scared. With a bond like that, you're going to be okay. The more she talks, the more furious my bond gets. I didn't understand it then, but the woman is trying to get me to talk to her, to figure out who it was that I belonged to, so she could sell me out. My bond knew it, and so it urged me to keep my mouth shut, and even though I hate it most of the time, I listen when it tells me something like that.
Bodies fall to the dirt around us in unceremonious heaps, limbs torn away and chunks missing from their torsos, thanks to the hundreds of nightmare creatures roaming the camp. All three of the TAC teams working with us today are forming a perimeter, careful not to move in while the carnage is taking place, because the infamous Draven nightmares don't distinguish friend from foe when they're in a feeding frenzy like this. No. There's only bodies to consume and tear apart until blood and gore is dripping from their jaws as their eyes shine with an eerie and unnatural light. The camp is an older one, more established and full of heavily brainwashed gifted who will take months to process and deprogram. I want to be noble and say that we're here to save them, that we've watched this camp for months and planned out this rescue to bring these people home to their families. And on paper, that's all true. But as an older camp, it's also full of records, and Griffin has become obsessed with sifting through resistance data. It's not hard to figure out his motives. There's something he knows about our bond that he's choosing not to share. But when he finds whatever he's looking for, we might all finally get some answers. There's a static sound in my earpiece, and then Griffin's voice comes through.
Prisoners are in the biggest tent on the east side. Bravo team, move out.
I unholster one of my guns, and then hold my palm out to call my nightmare creatures back into myself now that the majority of the resistance here have been dealt with. There's still a chance that we miss some, thus the gun, but the risk of killing innocents is too high to keep them out and consuming. Most of the creatures melt away back into me, as though they're obedient. Others go back and snarling and screaming.